Hi folks, hope you're okay today. It's good to be with you. I'm just talking about same-sex marriage and adoption agencies, and um, the same-sex marriage advocates in the West have stated that same-sex marriage would not impinge on religious freedom. Promises were made prior to same-sex marriage being adopted in certain states in America and in the United Kingdom. But these promises have shown to be hollow. There are states in the in America where Catholic adoption agencies have had to close down because they've been seen by the state as discriminatory to same-sex marriage couples. And the same in the UK. There's been many Catholic adoption agencies closed down in the UK because they're seen as discriminatory towards same-sex marriage couples. Now, that is a surreptitious, pernicious infringement on religious freedom, and shows that this idea that same-sex marriage is somehow part of this liberal consensus where we are neutral and we will not interfere in anything concerning religion or sex or anything else. We won't interfere, we'll let people make their choice. That idea of liberal consensus, that there is neutrality and that we can promote gay rights and at the same time allow religious freedom, is just completely dishonest. Basically, it's the myth of neutrality. Really, there is no neutrality. Basically, the so-called liberal consensus is really a consensus for a small minority of intellectual elites who impose a certain numerality on the masses and will stop at nothing to do that and level all opposition. And we can see that in terms of the Catholic Church and adoption agencies throughout the West, where they've had pressure. Many of them have closed down, and more and more pressure is being put upon them. And that's just one area of religious life in Western culture that has been decimated by the advancement of same-sex marriage. The other thing is the violence towards those who oppose same-sex marriage. There have been numerous reports in America where there have been violent agitation against those who have marched peaceably against same-sex marriage, and this is not reported. I'll link to the information about this violence, but there have been a number of incidences where large crowds of gay rights activists have been violent towards those who are just saying that they don't agree with same-sex marriage. So on the one hand, you have a pernicious political Trojan horse that says it's not going to take away religious freedom, but actually takes away religious freedom. But at the same time, you have this bullying gay rights activism that intimidates people violently. And if you say these kind of things, you're seen as homophobic, which is violence with words. I mean, the word homophobic implies that I have some kind of fear against gay people. I don't have any fear whatsoever. You know, that language is designed to demonize anybody who opposes same-sex marriage or gay rights, which is wrong. Religious freedom, in my book, in Romans chapter 1, it's quite clear that it states in my book that gay rights is not on the issue, that is sinful. In Romans chapter 1, that's what it says. So secular culture that says I'm homophobic is against my religious text, which is the Word of God. So a language has been invented to demonize people, and unfortunately it demonizes people of a religious text. So language has power to demonize and ostracize and to control and manipulate societies. And the language of the Bible is very, very clear, and that is gay rights is sin. And that's the end of it from a biblical perspective. But within secular culture there is no right to say that, because the language that is being used demonizes anybody who says it's a sin, because they would say, well, it's homophobic. So in other words, I'm attacking this myth that the liberal democracy is neutral. It is not neutral. I've shown you on the issue of language, I've shown you on the issue of Catholic Adoption Agency, and I've shown you on the issue of violence, and I'll give you the evidence to show you the violence of the gay rights activists against those Christians and people who have marched against same-sex marriage. I will provide you with the evidence. I'm not here to demonize gay people. What I'm here to do is attack specifically, and this is what I'm trying to do, I'm attacking specifically the doctrine that liberal democracy is neutral, does not take sides, and wants to promote everybody's sexual preference and religious preference without taking sides. This video is attacking that doctrine by showing how same-sex marriage is not neutral within the liberal democracy culture, because the liberal democracy culture and the gay rights movement are working together where they are taking away people's rights, and so it is a myth of neutrality. So I would call this video Same-Sex Marriage and the Myth of Neutrality. Take care and God bless.